wave your hand and we can have one brought to you. But we are only taking questions that are on the cards, okay? You can't just yell out your question, all right? And we are asking you to keep it to 4 minutes or less because we want... Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Don't do this every day, I guess. So we want you to keep it to 4 minutes or less. That way we can get to more questions. We do have a timer. Wait the sign up there, please. So this will be your 1 minute warning. 1 minute warning if you get a 3-minute mark to wrap it up, okay? The more questions we can get at, the more topics we can cover today. So that's the point of this whole exercise. We're hoping that we can wrap all this up by about 4:15, just to let you know. And there's no way we'll get through all of the questions because we'd be here till after dark. So we'll take as many as we can, but every question that's on a card will be delivered to Hinson's office. So she will know that you were here, she'll know what your concerns are, and that's the whole idea, okay? So, alright, so nobody needs to turn in a card, we're all good on that? Okay, cool. Alright, well, I'm going to introduce Grant Beater, who retired at the end of 2024 after 36 years as a Blackhawk County. And 43 years working for Blackhawk County. He's the past president of both the Iowa State Association of Counties and the Iowa State Association of County Auditors. So he also sat on the National Board of Directors for the Association of Counties for 20 years. So he is going to explain the rules of the road today and how we're going to follow along with all these questions, okay? Grant, take it away.
Thank you all for coming out today. I'm just going over the ground rules for how we want to behave while we proceed here. Please be respectful of others' views, even if you don't agree. No swearing, no name calling, no shouting. Let others express their views without interruption. Be mindful of the time limit. We want to hear from as many of you as time will allow. So when they get the questions sorted out, they will be determining whether, if you want to read your own question, they'll give you that opportunity. If people don't want to read their question, then they'll give it to me and I'll read it. So, Liz, I'll hand it back to you.
All right, as you can see, we invited Representative Hinson multiple times, and as you can also see, she rejected our invitations multiple times. So, we decided that we would hold our own town hall, and so she's sort of here, sort of has a presence here. Okay. Don't you like her shirt? Yeah.
Town halls, one in every county that I represent, and I still plan to fulfill that promise because I do value transparency and accessibility. What I don't want to see is the narrative get completely commandeered by paid protesters, which is what we're seeing at some of these other town halls. And that's what I want to do. So I'm going to continue to hold town halls, both in person and virtual. I've done dozens of telephone town halls as well, where we can reach ironically, thousands more people
Where are you?
in town halls. And Iowans, I can tell you, having done more than 400 plus stops in the district in my first 2 terms, Iowans are hungry for these kinds of changes at the federal level.
No, we're not.
Paid protesters, that doesn't mean voices aren't important, but in some cases, the loudest voices are not the most voices, and that's something that I seriously take to heart.
Okay, enough of that, right? We had a lot of clips of her, a lot of videos, and some people had to sit through them and watch those, and it was painful. And so we decided to spare you from it. Because the reason we're here today is because this is the People's Town Hall. And this is your chance to speak up and tell us what you think about what is going on in DC.
Good.
Okay? All right. So, we do have a few invited speakers here that we'll be starting with. And Carol, you want to introduce yours?
Hi, my name is Harold Shane. I'm a volunteer with Indivisible, and I'm not a big protester. Actually, a video, and his name is Richard Dam. He's a Vietnam vet, and we'll just let the video speak for itself.
My name is Richard Dam. I live in Waterloo. I was born and raised in Waterloo. I've lived in a lot of other places throughout my life, and this is where I want to end it, so I'm back. And the main thing is, and why I'm in this wheelchair, is because I have ataxia, which is something that attacks the nervous system that controls muscle movement. So, what it boils down to, my feet don't always go where I tell them to, and my balance is not worth much. On top of that, I have peripheral neuropathy and the ataxia. The nerve problems was caused by exposure to Agent Orange when I was in Vietnam. It started to manifest itself about 10 years ago. As you can see, I progressed from using a cane on to using a walker, and now I'm using a wheelchair. I guess I should be grateful I still get around a little bit.
Okay, how is your life impacted by your access to VA care?
Well, it's not as impacted as somebody in a less fortunate situation than I am. Many people depend on the VA for all of their health care, and so do I. I also, though, I have access to Medicare and that, so I'm in a much better position than at least half of the other veterans. I can't imagine cutting anything from the VA or making it worse than what it is. I mean, it took them this long to start getting everything right, in my opinion, and now they've got it so that it works fairly well, and they're trying their best to take care of veterans. Not always able to in every case, probably, but it's a whole lot better than it used to be. And if they start messing with it, I'm afraid they're going to screw it all up, and these guys are going to be left out in the cold. And I mean that, they're going to be living outdoors.
Do you have a question for Representative Hinson?
I just wanted to know how you've made it through this far in your life without a spine. How can you do that if you can't stand up and you can't talk, you can't do what you think is right? You're more or less living in a dictatorship right now. Whatever the boss tells you to do, that's what you do, and you can't think or do for yourself. So, okay, maybe you can explain to me when that all happened to you. Promises that you gave when you were campaigning. I'm interested for an answer too.
called the Cedar Valley Home for 17 years. Corianne works with adults gaining their GED, and Melissa works at a library. Melissa is also the co-executive director of the Cedar Valley LGBTQ+ Coalition.
I grew up in rural Wilton, Iowa. So if anybody's ever been to the Candy Kitchen, it's where my childhood was. So I know what happens to most decent folk when the economy is struggling. I've worked in education with a focus on mathematics for the last 12 years. So I know how important it is to helping everyone support their families with education. I also work with immigrants and refugees who are trying to rebuild their lives in a brand new country, so I understand the importance of trying to take care of one another in this community. There are many topics and questions I could ask today, and many concerns that I have for the current government. But I also have the unique honor of being part of an incredibly small minority of the population who are currently vilified both at the state and the federal level. Because in addition to everything that I've done for the last 40 years of my life, I am also a transgender woman. I would love to talk about why I transitioned or why it was the right choice for me, but I only have so much time. If you'd like to talk to me after, I would be more than happy to. I can also help you learn mathematics, specifically quadratic. But today, I want to talk about the government overreach in regards to trans Iowans. We make up around 1% of the population, but day after day we hear about another terrible bill being passed, another law being implemented. Iowa is the first state to remove civil rights from a group of people that were previously protected.
Let's go! Boo! Let's go!
It is now legal to fire me, evict me from my home, and deny me credit just because I am transgender. And while I should be worrying about how many graduates I have in my high school completion program, or how best to teach my students mathematics so that they can succeed in life, instead I have to worry about what the government will make illegal next. The arguments they're using now are the same arguments they've used against minorities in the past, and if one group of minorities becomes erased from existence, what will happen to the next one?
Yep.
In 2020, Ashley Hinson said, no person should be discriminated against. No person should be bullied because of who they are. And no person should be discriminated in the workforce for any reason. If what she said was true, then I want to know what she plans on doing at the federal level to help those of us who can now legally be discriminated against, and those of us who make up one of the smallest minority populations in the country.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, between 2014 and 2023, the number of households headed by same-sex couples increased in every state except Iowa. Iowa is the only state to see a decrease, with the number of same-sex headed households dropping by 11%. With this decline comes a serious question: why are LGBTQ families leaving Iowa? It may have to do with Iowa being the state with its fifth most bills this year introduced targeting LGBTQ individuals. Maybe it has to do with the number of hate crimes based on sexual orientation occurring in the state of Iowa, increasing by 40% between 2021 and 2023.
It's nuts.
Perhaps it has to do with the failure to ban the harmful practice of conversion therapy even on a local level, as Waterloo failed to do in 2023. What I do know is that due to the signing of the trans erasure bill, stripping trans Iowans of their legal protections will definitely see more LGBTQ Iowans leaving the state, or worse, dead. While many LGBTQ people love this state and call it home, it's a fact that the state's leaders do not love us. This isn't just a local issue, but a national crisis. Lawmakers in 9 states have proposed measures to undermine and overdevelop versus causes the landmark ruling that legalized gay marriage. transgender employees and over 100,000 LGBTQ employees of federal contractors. In 2023, the number of anti-LGBTQ hate groups identified by the Southern Poverty Law Center increased by about 1/3 to a total of 86. As long as right-wing politicians continue to spread disinformation, which is echoed across mainstream media channels, publications, and by right-wing social media accounts, anti-LGBTQ extremism will continue. Anti-LGBTQ politicians will continue to enact harmful legislation that fuels violence against LGBTQ people. Ashley Hinson has applauded these anti-LGBTQ law bills. She has bullied LGBTQ people on her social media. She has done absolutely nothing to help our community. Yet Hinson stated in 2021, "No one should face hatred or discrimination of any kind, and I will fight for everyone to be treated fairly and with respect." If Hinson truly believes this and is a woman of her word, then it's time to start doing this.
Thank you, Coria and Melissa. We're really glad to have you here, and we do love you.
Charities welcoming families seeking asylum, which is a legal right in this country.
Yes, it is.
Fleeing desperate situations, and I ended up staying and working for about 2.5 years. So this is an issue that's very important to me. My comments really come in the form of 2 questions for Ashley Hinson. Just last week, Ashley Hinson was in Dana County pressuring local law enforcement to cooperate with ICE to get criminals off the street. And by criminals, she means
Brown skin.
is what I say. Without papers, anybody who might be the wrong color,
Right.
etc. She's not very specific. And first of all, actually, it is not a crime in this country to be here without papers. It is an administrative offense, not a criminal. Secondly, we all want violent criminals off the street, no matter what their document status might be.
And I'm the White House.
Are you aware that immigrant communities are safer than native-born communities?
Yeah.
Not partnering with ICE makes us actually safer because immigrants should be able to trust local law enforcement to go after the real criminals.
I hope that's what
And finally, immigration is explicitly a federal responsibility, not local. So will you commit to making us safer by keeping ICE out of our communities? Okay, my second comment and final, you'll be glad to know. Ashley, you are supposed to represent Iowa and Iowans in the Congress, so I'm sure you're aware that the native-born population in the state continues to decline. And Iowa ranks 10th in the country for young people leaving the state for better opportunities. Iowa counts on immigrants to help fill the gaps, especially in construction, service, and most importantly, in agriculture. 2023, the New York Times said there were some 75,000 job openings in Ohio. Do you want what is best for the state? Then you should be welcoming immigrants, not trying to get rid of them.
Thank you, Sherry, that was great. Okay, we are ready for your questions now, okay? So,
All right, if the card that I have is signed by the person that wrote it out, I'm gonna call on that person, and we have a roving microphone that will come to you so that you can read the question. So, first one on the top stack is Mike Knapp.
Okay, I'm not being paid to be here either. I'm a Waterloo resident. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I have 3 exposures to Agent Orange. I rely on the VA health services. In fact, I'm going down Monday for surgery at the VA hospital in Iowa City. I have a VA disability pension. I'm on a fixed income. My other source of income is Social Security. Okay, so my question for Ashley Hinson is, will she, or what is she going to do to fight cuts to both VA and Social Security, and will she ensure that those services continue undisrupted to seniors, people on Social Security, veterans that are receiving VA services, so that we don't have to worry about, will our check be in the mail? Will it be there so we can pay our rent, pay our mortgage, buy our groceries? And will I have access to the medical services I need so that my life can continue and I can continue to vote in elections? Yeah.
Reads or writes? I will read the question. Or state the question. Donald Trump attacks our allies daily. He is working to weaken our alliances. He appears to concede every point to Putin in the Russian-Ukraine conflict. Is President Trump a Russian asset?
Yes. Yes.
Has he been compromised by Putin?
Yes. Yes.
Next question from Mark Porter.
Clark Porter, him. I'm a farmer in Ashley Hinson's district. I'd like to begin my questions with a quote from Will Rogers. And the quote is, "This country has come to feel the same when Congress is in session as when the baby gets hold of a hammer. Only this time, it's not the legislative branch that has the babies and hammers, it's the executive branch." And I'm asking Ashley Hinson how you might protect all of us, and especially all the farmers in your district, from the babies with the hammers. One of those last time that President Trump was in office, our ag sector lost $27 billion in lost trade opportunity, and the taxpayers had to bail us out to the tune of over $23 billion. A study from the National Corn Growers Association and American Soybean Association, these are not liberal organizations. This is not Bernie Sanders in a lawn chair. They also conducted a study indicating the damage that could be done by trade wars. So that's my first question. Second question I have is with regard to conservation. As farmers, we're responsible for being stewards not only of this year's crop and this year's resources, but resources for tomorrow and many tomorrows after, not only for ourselves, but our children and our grandchildren. Conservation is vital to conducting agriculture and to preserving the health of everybody in our state. We saw a threat to $112 million in conservation in the state alone with USDA cuts. Recently that money was restored, but chaos ensues and staff that are vital to the delivery of those services remain fired or in confusion about whether they're still working or not. When they are reinstated, it's only for 45 days. So, Ashley, Hinson, what are you doing to preserve funding and support for conservation and for farmers who are the stewards of our land? My third question has to do with food scarcity. The last time I talked out loud to the group, and then I heard all the other horrible stories, I felt a bit ashamed as a farmer and landowner in our area, because I heard truly terrible stories about traumas people were experiencing. And so I felt a bit like somebody complaining about cold soup to a person that was going hungry. But the question remains, I believe that food security is going to be important in ongoing farm policy. And what we really need to do is to have hunger be the beating heart of future farm policy. What are you going to do to help people in need of food here, especially in this fertile state? And lastly, my concern is about ongoing dependency on federal dollars. Ashley Hinson just oversaw the gift of $10 billion now to our nation's farmers. This is needed, but this isn't necessary. And I believe that the dependency consolidates power. We need independent landowners. We need independent sectors of our economy. And with consolidation of power is a lost power. So what do we do to protect us from that dependency?
Next question is from Steve Olson.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Steve Olson. First of all, I want to thank all of you for coming. You all give me hope. I'm known as the tech guy. My pronouns are he, him. And here's my question, or questions. Donald Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, also known as Doge or Dachi, accompanied by armed escorts claiming to be from the FBI, recently seized control of the U.S. Institute of Peace. The U.S. Institute of Peace is an independent agency tasked with promoting conflict resolution around the world. It is not a government agency. Regardless, Daji entered their building, kicked out its staff, changed the locks, and took over the institution. All of this was done with zero oversight, zero transparency, and zero accountability. What exactly about this is legal, let alone democratic?
Nothing.
Beyond this, Trump and Musk have been stealing America's private data, shutting down critical services like cancer research and the National Weather Service, destroying our social safety net, disappearing people without cause, places like El Salvador, and abandoning our allies worldwide. At what point do you stop making excuses for these two decimating democracy right in front of our faces? It's bypassing Congress, ignoring judges, and claiming that they are the law does not move you to action. What will? Should we assume you're perfectly fine with torching the Constitution as long as it keeps your seat in Congress warm? Our ancestors fought and died to protect our democracy, and we're not going to sit by idly while these two replace it with their fascist fantasies. If you won't fight for our democracy, we will find someone who will.
Next question is from Moody Jones.
Hello, I am a Republican that was not paid to be here. I was known to be honest and hardworking people. I did not vote for President Trump, but many of my Republican friends did. I doubt that I'm the only Republican here. It bothers me that contracts between farmers, teachers, and federal workers and the United States are illegally broken. There is a more effective and civil way to weed out fraud and/or waste. What is happening now reminds me of when I was in school and still taught about other civilizations who were not white. The United States broke promises to Native Americans, and the United States word meant nothing. The same thing is happening now.
Yep.
Is Julie Fee.
Hi, I'm Julie Fee. I also not being paid, but if there's an opportunity. And do I have to claim that on my taxes? As a retired teacher, I know how important it is for kids to be fed. Hungry kids do not learn. I understand we also need to cut waste. However, let me ask you if this is fair. As a senator, you get $86 a day for a food budget. As a representative, you get $68 a day for a food budget.
Boo.
As a family of 4 on food stamps, the maximum you can get is $32 a day. Is that
Sit.
Chris Hoffman.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoffman, and I'm not paid to be here either. Most of my voting life, I was registered independent until 2015, when Trump came out and mocked a reporter who he got angry with, or disability.
Yep.
He proceeded to engage in such behavior So I switched to being a Democrat at that point. Dismissing the achievements of the Paralympians, and even made fun of one of our great American heroes, John McCain, for not being able to lift his arm up of his shoulder, which was damaged by the Vietnamese when he was in prison. We cannot stand for this. This is going now driving us back to, and I know this is going to sound alarmist, but it's true, the 30s.
Yep.
200,000 people with disabilities went to Auschwitz.
Yep.
I'm not a panicking person, but those of us who forget our history tend to repeat it.
Yep.
The entire delegation says nothing when he insults, mocks, and otherwise dismisses people with disabilities. Ashley, how are you going to change it?
Next is Ken and Sita.
Actually, you can read it if you want, but the first part.
No, I can't.
Okay, Yasin Ken, I basically wanted to point out that Ashley Hinson on September 27th was in Cedar Rapids for the dedication of the Burrish Immigration Clock Tower, where it's the National Czechoslovak Museum is very proud of. She was there, and the Czech president was there, President Pavel, and the Slovak president there, Pellegrini. And I was wondering if she took the opportunity to ask either of them their opinion of what's going on in Ukraine, because part of the original Czechoslovak Republic was the South Carpathian Rus that the Soviet Union took from Czechoslovakia at the end of World War II. They moved all the borders. So this was a great opportunity for our representative to speak to two people that are very close to the problem.
Next is Leanne Davis.
I have more of a statement, but it does have to do with a question. I have just one question. However, it happens to concern many topics. How many autistic students have to lose their IEPs because the Department of Education funds are going to be cut? How many farmers are going to lose their farm and or business because USDA food contracts are going to be cut? How many transgender suicides are we going to see?
Yep.
How many transgender homicides are we going to see? How many starving kids are going to die because USAID funds have been cut totally? How many dollars are going to be raised for your new car that you have to buy because of these dumb tariffs that are going to be coming into place? How many pediatric cancer patients may die because of the NIH funds that are going to be cut? I wonder, does it have to be friends or classmates of your sons, Max and Jax? Does it have to be one of their classmates that dies? How many nursing home patients have to be kicked out of their nursing home because of Medicaid cuts?
Don't let it happen.
How many rural hospitals have to close because of Medicaid cuts? How many rural bridges won't get fixed or won't get replaced because of infrastructure dollars that he will no longer spend? How many farmers have to get welfare subsidies because of retaliatory cuts, retaliatory tariffs that other countries will put on us? How many consumers will get sick because of meat inspectors that are going to be cut?
How many plane crashes or near misses do we have to suffer through again because of FAA cuts? How many hurricane or tornado victims will die because of NOAA or the National Weather Service cuts that are happening now? How many foreign nationals will commit corruption because the DOJ is not even looking for it? On purpose, they're not looking for it. How many lies does it take for 45? In his first term, he had over 30,000 lies that were documented. How many convictions did it take? 34. Apparently that wasn't enough. Lastly, I guess I want to ask, how many ribbon-cutting ceremonies will you continue to host for the infrastructure bill projects that Biden accomplished? Projects that you didn't vote for and didn't want to pass, but you sure love to take credit for it. How many more examples do we need to list before you finally say to yourself, my God, what have we done?
So the United States created the Environmental Protection Agency in 1970 to clean up our air and our water and our land. Now Trump changed the EPA to help the largest polluters pollute even more. Trump signed an order to withdraw us from the Paris Climate Agreement, and he signed another order called Putting America First in International Environmental Agreements, which immediately stopped financial agreements on climate. Last year in 2024 was the hottest year ever recorded, breaking the records of the previous 9 years that were also the warmest years on record. Now we have a higher risk of more severe climate disasters. Trump fired weather forecasters when we need this science more than ever today. Trump fired federal firefighters when we have a national shortage of firefighters. Trump made deep cuts to FEMA when the present FEMA disaster staff can't adequately respond to the increasing numbers of floods, fires, tornadoes, and hurricanes. People living today and future generations and other species on the planet will really suffer from these horrible decisions. Representative Ashley Hinson, what are you doing to stand up to Trump for making these decisions that have deadly consequences?
Before we move on, I have a couple of announcements handed to me. Just thought you'd like to know, you're the lucky ones. There are 250 people online watching this. The lobby seating outside here is full. One empty parking space outside. The next speaker is Robert Hubert.
There are three questions I'm going to ask that I would ask Ashley Hinson. Are you all right to make fun of people with disability, as Trump has said? Are you, and then And she said yes, okay. Are you all right for a president with 3 felonies to lead this country? She'll probably say yes. Are you all right with a president groping women's or grabbing women's private parts? She'll probably say no. And the other 2 questions is, why are you going with this guy?
Another reminder, if you want your questions, if you are one of the persons that read your own question, you want your questions to go to Ashley, please make sure that you leave them with us here at the end of the show. Next we have Cherry H.
Charity Heidi, I'm a Waterloo resident, like literally everybody in this room, not paid to be here. I'm a part of it. Which is my question. I have that. Thanks, right here. Sorry about that. Okay. Yes, this one. Okay. The gap between the ultra-rich and middle class is growing every day. Meanwhile, the cost of living is increasing steadily, while wages, particularly when you think about the federal minimum wage, are absolutely not keeping pace. How do you plan to improve this? People working full-time should not be in poverty. People working full-time should be able to keep their family. Full stop. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so that was it. That's really not a question. The other thing I would just like to add as an aside, my day job is a continuous improvement consultant. So finding efficiency is like what I do all day. And all I'll say about what little Musk and his Doge boys are doing, but fire everybody and then freaking figure it out later, that's not how efficiency works.
Next, we have an unsigned question. How can Elon Musk be able to make decisions about what agencies to cut or eliminate when he has not been elected? Where are the checks and balances? Do something. Next is Lisa Nelson.
The local food for schools and local food purchasing assistance programs have been halted, breaking a 3-year promise that was made to our local small farmers. And we all know that our big ag people and our larger farmers get money through our federal tax dollars. Senator Grassley has agreed to consider adding support for local small farmers to the Farm Bill. As a person serving on the House Subcommittee for Ag Appropriations, Ashley, will you advocate for this appropriation? Will you move forward with funding to backfill for these farmers who are left stranded? There's $30 million that could go into our Iowa Choice program, and that doesn't even require a new bill. It just requires doing it. So that's my question for Ashley, is whether she will do those things to help our local small farmers survive without the LFS and the LFPA.
Next one is unsigned. Has a number of questions. Congratulations on being appointed to the House Ethics Committee. What will you be doing to, number 1, uphold the rule of law? Number 2, push back against those cutting federal agencies that only Congress can do? Number 3, protect civil rights. Number 4, preserve academic freedom. That's being ethical.
Yes.
And another assignment. You took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. How far are you willing to let attacks on our Constitution go before you decide to do your job? Another. I want to know if you're going to support our Social Security checks. We gave into this as it was mandatory. I have a son on SSA that has to live on. His money is coming off the money my husband put in and didn't get much since he died. I live on my Social Security, so we'll have to go homeless and without food. How many people will die over this? Next is Jamie over here.
I'm Jamie Overplay. I'm a local teacher.
It's off.
I'm a local teacher, and my question pertains to House File 899 and the dismantling of the Department of Education. Will you stand up to the extreme abuse of power the president is using, or will you continue to crush Iowans for your own gain? How do you expect Iowa school districts to pick up the $110.6 million lost in Title I funding and the $155.7 million lost for IDA funding, when we're already having to make cuts at our local district level?
Next couple are unsigned. My concerns and question is in regard to Social Security. Number 1, Ashley Hinson, do you support the existing Social Security system? Number 2, what will you do to improve the current system? Remember, millionaires and billionaires may not need Social Security, but the majority of ordinary people do. We need those students of Social Security and our representatives in Congress to be transparent in what they are doing to improve our current system. And then a couple of simple questions. If many things Trump is doing are illegal and or unconstitutional, why can't anyone stop him? You took an oath to protect the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. President Trump is cozying up to Putin, a known enemy of the U.S., destroying our relationship with our allies. Will you please honor your oath to protect the Constitution? Oh, I'm sorry, this was signed, I just didn't see it at the end. Sorry, Brad. This one I'm pretty sure is not signed. How are you, my representative, protecting my right to vote since I have taken my husband's last name? Why do I need papers? Why do I need papers to prove who I am since I have voted in Waterloo since 1972? Don't say I'm safe because the SAVE Act rules keep changing. Are we living in Nazi Germany or Gilead?
Yeah.
How will you act to protect Iowa's libraries? Trump has an executive order to kill all federal support for libraries and museums. Next is Julie Glade.
I've been fighting this fight for 4 years. They want to take our land by eminent domain against our will, so a lot of wealthy corporations can get even wealthier. I'm asking Representative Hinson to support H.R. 1946 and work to repeal the 45Q tax credits. These are the tax credits that corporations can make billions of dollars, billions of our taxpayer dollars, so CO2 can be used to, for enhanced oil drilling in North Dakota. If anything is fraud and abuse, these tax credits are.
Yep.
These tax credits would take billions of tax dollars, and our farms will be ruined. Groundwater could be ruined. People are going to die if there's a rupture. They're very hazardous. But people don't know anything, but we're just trying to raise awareness. Also, we want no federal eminent domain. The power to site CO2 pipelines needs to stay with the states, not the feds.
Thank you. We have a letter here from a representative from the Letter Carriers Union that we've been asked to read. My name is Tom Kim. I am the Vice President and Director of Education for the Iowa Association of Letter Carriers. I recently contacted Ashley Hinson with concerns about Doge and Elon Musk. Letter carriers have deep concerns about what is being said and done in Washington, D.C. They are so concerned that rallies will be held across the U.S. of A. tomorrow. There will be one in Cedar Falls at noon and 200 block of Main Street. By the way, some of you know there was one here in Waterloo on Thursday.
Yep.
Our concerns are plentiful. Are our retirements secure? Will we be able to serve our mission to deliver America's mail promptly and universally? Are we going to be privatized, as Elon Musk tweeted? Are we under attack as a union, as constitutionally created public servants for the sake of profits? Ashley Hinson emailed me a response to our fears, concerns, and anger just yesterday. She writes, I support the efforts of Doge. Doge is conducting a top-down audit.
Yeah, right. Lies.
An audit? Has Ashley Hinson been isolated from the news? Wait, is she stupid? The above. She's lying. She is scaring up the putrid water of this administration. Ashley Hinson is willingly giving up the power of the House. She is no longer a solution problem. She has become the problem.
Yep.
To represent others, I can tell you with crystal clarity that Ashley Hinson is not doing the job of adequately representing Iowans in her district.
No.
Signed, Tom
No.
Kim. Next is Debbie Kyler.
I just have a comment. Congresswoman Hinson, just to let you know, if you stand out against the unconstitutional things happening, we will stand behind you when your Republican peers and the president attack you. A constituent,
Yep.
Debbie Kyler.
This one is not signed. Hi, Ashley. You missed a great photo op on Saturday. Please respond to this. You and Reynolds have preached for years and spent a fortune complaining about dangerous immigrants. Iowa should have been first with deportations. 3 months in and no busloads leaving Iowa. Why not? MAGA people want the jobs.
Ashley, why aren't you challenging President Trump when he intentionally flouts the decisions by judges who have ruled against his illegal deportation of U.S. citizens? He's in violation of the Constitution. You're becoming precariously close to a constitutional crisis.
We are concerned for our trans kids. Families are moving out of state because their kids aren't safe in Iowa.
Yep, that's right.
Next is Kathy Scholl.
Hi, I'm Kathy Scholl. I'm not paid to be here, and I'm just starting to learn about Social Security because my husband is going to be getting on it soon. We have to make an appointment. We don't know if he'll even be there, but I do have something that I want to say to Ashley. Ashley, right now, Social Security is facing funding challenges and is projected to run short on funds in the future. One solution that the chief actuary said could keep Social Security financially secure for at least the next 75 years is to require higher earners to pay Social Security. All of their income, just like most working Americans do now. This would strengthen the program without cutting benefits for seniors and future retirees. Would you support or introduce a bill to remove the cap on taxable income so that all earnings that are taxed for Social Security while keeping the benefits the same?
Ashley, why should Congress even convene anymore? If all you do as congresspersons is rubber stamp what President Trump demands, what is the point of Congress if you, as congresspersons, have abdicated your responsibility to represent us, your constituents?
What will you do to stop Trump, Musk, MAGA, etc., and yourself from turning this country into Hitler and Nazis?
Please do tell.
If you think or say this isn't happening, you are wrong and you know it. You are part of the problem. My concern has to do with the dismantling of the critical government programs like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. We pay about $20 billion to U.S. citizens and protects us from ridiculous junk fees and keeps large corporations held accountable. Not to mention the massive number of federal workers and civil servants who have lost their jobs. If the concern is about waste, fraud, and abuse, maybe we should look at the DOD or funding genocide and fraud instead.
Hi, I'm Pat Morrissey, and I'm running for city council. Okay, well,
started thinking about what I wanted to write here, and I started writing, and then I had to quit because I would be up here the whole time with questions for this one. But Ms. Hinson, you're a very big disappointment for any number of reasons. But I just want to know, according to some people, personhood starts at conception. Some others say that the first heartbeat is there. So supporters of this also say that this includes all rights afforded to any citizen. So do you agree with this? And if no, then when do civil or human rights begin? And if yes, then how can you justify stripping human and civil rights from transsexual persons and from anyone in the USA, the land of the free? And these are just yes or no questions. Was the 2020 election stolen, actually? Was January 6th an attempt to overturn a certified election?
Yes.
Okay. You voted for the continuing resolution this year. I just want to know why. And as a follow-up to that, will you protect 100% funding for Medicaid and its current recipients? Second, will you protect Social Security, not touch it, and Medicare, not touch it? Will you protect the Affordable Care Act? Will you protect the VA and all veterans? Will you fully fund SNAP? Will you fully fund education for our children and grandchildren? In fact, are you going to help increase it? Will you support public education and not use taxpayers' dollars to support vouchers for private education? Do you support Trump's attacks on the judiciary? And that's even though the guy has said that he wants a law to outlaw that. What an idiot. Do you support Elon Musk and his Trump's Doge? And then finally, what role actually do you as a congressperson play in declaring war? How can a president use the Alien Enemies Act when we have no declared war? Proceed by a president does not equal a declared war, does it actually?
This one's unsigned. What would you do to stop the Trump administration's destruction of the rule of law? Examples: defines of court orders regarding temporary injunctions against deportation without due process. Undermining First Amendment rights by threats against news media, universities, law, and cancellation of congressional appropriations.
Ashley, I am a mother of 2 boys. I'm a teenage mom who, for the past 16 years, have been using many different resources that you are deciding to cut. Food stamps being one, Medicaid, housing assistance, all of it. I'm also a student at the University of Northern Iowa, and I've been working my ass off from the ground up, getting my GED, jumping to Hawkeye, to UNI, to pursue a degree in social work.
child wants to go to college. I can't afford that. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with fucking a bunch of Americans based on their class and their disabilities? That's all.
This one is not signed. How can you support a party that seeks to erase women and minorities from our nation's Next is Margaret Whiting.
She already went. But you want to go again? I already did talk about
Oh, okay. Thank you. Move on to Stephanie Dickens.
I'm Stephanie Diggin. I am a DEI hire and I'm a United States Air Force veteran. And I, or rather we, will not let them disappear us from history. I second everything everybody has said here today, but I want to shift the focus just a little bit. I remember a time when there was a fairness doctrine, and it was rooted in the 1949 media, enforced by the FCC, and it mandated that the media would devote equal amounts of time to opposing views. It was called at the time the single most important requirement of operation in the public sector, basically. So that was a good thing, right? The Reagan administration repealed it in 1987, and there was a lot of opposition to the appeal, but they appealed it anyway. And the reason why I'm bringing this up or shifting the focus is because I've had a lot of conversations with people who are confused and apathetic because they just don't know what to believe. There's so much misinformation and disinformation out there, and they just, like, the question is, well, if it's true. Well, I don't know if I can believe that. So we have a very uninformed electorate, and we need to figure out a way to help them become more informed for our next election. We need to give them the confidence that they know what they know.
Start with vote now to Ashley.
So the question now is, can you pursue an agenda to bring back the Fairness and Reporting Doctrine and include a provision for truth?
Yep. Yes.
By the way, how many Pinocchios are we up to now? Okay, and I'm sure she can do more than one thing at a time, so I'm counting on her.
Thank you. Next one is unsigned. Recently, Trump dismantled the Department of Education. What are you going to do to stand up for public schools and those who are most vulnerable? Our rural public schools will lose teachers, funding. What will you do to fight for them?
Photo op.
The next one is unsigned. It had quite a list of them, and the committee chose certain ones to be addressed. First, Musk fired 80,000 VA staff. Why are you supporting cuts to the Veterans Administration when we never have enough care dedicated to them? How will veterans receive quality care? Next, we are the richest nation on earth, and yet our health care is 41st in the nation.
In the world.
To improve access and affordability of health care. Next, why are you supporting cuts to cancer research? Iowa has the second highest
Exactly.
Research being done in Iowa. Next, we have children with disabilities and special needs. The Department of Education is being dismantled. Our current cabinet secretary did not even know what IDBA stands for. Emphasizing that she is totally unqualified. How do you promise that all children, not just the wealthy, are getting the best possible education? And other permanent residents are being illegally detained. In addition, Trump just fired nearly the entire civil rights branch of the Department of Homeland Security, an office responsible for conducting oversight of Trump's immigration crackdown. This is immoral and goes against America's values. Trump is constantly talking about taking over Greenland, Panama, and Canada. This is in direct violation of international laws. Will you also support this? Will you use our military to do so? Next, Musk is an unelected person who bought his way into the government. As part of the legislative branch, you have the power of the purse. Why are you giving power to this unvetted individual who is randomly making severe cuts and dismantling our system of government? Chinese tariffs in 2018 financially hurt Iowa farmers under Trump's first administration. As a nation, we still have not recovered the soybean market share we once had. Now, here we are again. It is especially disturbing that we are harassing our nearby trade partners, Canada and Mexico. Mexico is our greatest importer of corn. Trump is fighting our allies over a trade agreement that he put in place. We have seen a decline in grain prices. You have expressed concerns about tariffs, but I am wondering whether you have considered any of the long-term effects of them, such as farmers going out of business, a decrease in our market share, and a reduction in Iowa tax revenues. Why are you supporting Trump's radical tariff war? And the next card is from Joe Gardias.
I'm a 62-year-old semi-retired former journalist, retired journalist, and Air Force veteran, and I'm afraid that if we continue on this course, that we're not going to have the right to these kind of meetings at all.
Nope. Agree.
Or not, and that we are all here with very valid concerns, like I have about primarily. The government, the federal government, is supposed to take care of our funding, and the way in which DOGE is creating chaos is scaring, I think, all of us, and that's why I'm here today. But I think the primary thing we need to keep in mind is that our freedom of the press and freedom of speech are in grave danger. Stand up. We need to come together and unite as much as we can. And the written comments I had to the Congresswoman is I'm extremely concerned about the tactics that DOGE and Elon Musk have been taking to dismantle or chainsaw our federal agencies. This has not resulted in greater efficiency but in growing chaos. This is unconstitutional. What actions are you taking to demand accountability and oversight from Congress? Thank you.
Good question. So, Representative Hinson, Why can't you stand up for the laws that Congress passed that the president isn't paying any attention to? Don't you have any courage? Why do you just roll over and go along with Trump no matter how much he tramples on democracy? When you first decided to run for Congress, you were so idealistic. But now power is more important to you than the survival of our democracy. Why? Why can't you condemn Trump's lies? Liz Cheney warned you. Have the guts she has.
Thank you for that. Okay, I'm just going to wrap up by some thank yous. I'm going to give a couple of announcements about next steps. Thank you, of course, to the grant leaders for being here and being on our to Steve Olson, our tech guy. Jennifer Driscoll, who is doing the live stream on Carlson and Jenny McCabe, our film crew. Our still photography crew. Also, a big thank you to our donors, Sherry Roberts and Andy Young, that made it possible for us to rent this venue. Judy Steyer, Senior Rally Blue Dot. Conklin, my co-chair and chief. Over 50, I'm not sure what the number is, of our indivisible Blackhawk County volunteers that are here and helping with this event. We're going to have another event Monday at 1:30. We're going to be delivering the cards to Ashley Hinson's office. We're inviting all of you, whoever would like to be there, to come up. It's her office. If you don't know where it's at, you can Google it because I don't remember the address. But it's the Waterloo building on Commercial.
Yeah, commercial.
Yeah. So anyway, either we start at 1:30 Monday. If nobody's there, we'll do what we always do. We'll just slide them under her door with her sign that says nobody home.
She's never home.
All right, 4, other opportunities to do something. You know, if you're asking yourself, why is anybody doing anything, you're doing something right now. If you want to know who's going to do something, you're going to do something. We are going to do something. We have to do this together. We can't rely on somebody to come rescue us. So next opportunities, visit the offices of Hinson and Grassley. Right here in town, we have them. They have to listen to us. You know, the staff at Grassley's office, Mitch, is pretty kind. He even takes our picture when we go there. So, leave your comments. You can call using the 5 Calls app. You can call, they even have scripts and all the different issues that are going on, and they change obviously on a daily basis. You can email your representatives, go to local city council meetings, school board meetings, rallies and protests, letters to the editor, all the social media. So we have to spread the word. Our next event, after the Ashley Hinson office where we're going to drop the cards, we're having a hands-off rally that Indivisible is calling for nationwide. It's going to be hopefully the largest protest so far of Trump's 2.0 term. There's already at least 500 nationwide protests planned. We're having one right here in Waterloo. It will be Saturday, April 5th, 1:30 at Lincoln Park, pending approval from the city. Even though we don't really need it, but we've given them notice that we're going to be there. So look for more details on our Facebook page, which is Indivisible Blackhawk County.
Right there, behind you.
Yeah, there's a QR code up here.
Yep.
Right. Thank you. We will be doing that in cooperation in a coalition of people, so it's Indivisible, Cedar Valley Blue Dot has signed on, Insufferable Wenches of Iowa has signed on, Blackhawk County Democrats have signed on. If you are part of an organization that would like to be part of this protest, rally, whatever you want to call it, we're going to have speakers. We're going to get rowdy. We're not going to give up in advance our right to talk and protest and afterwards, and we'll get you signed up unofficially for now. Okay, so also a reminder that this stuff costs money. If you enjoyed this, if you thought this was a valuable expression of your free speech, then you do have a donation box at the table outside. You can drop a buck or two or whatever you feel like into it. We would really appreciate it. We're all just volunteers giving our own time and resources and money. So we would appreciate it. Last thing, just a little pep talk. Just know that continuing to engage in activities that bring you joy is also an act of resistance. And as a social worker, I think I need to say that we need to take care of ourselves first. We need to take care of each other. And we're all in this together. So please find some radical joy every day. Our hearings do count on us to be scared and angry. So go out and practice radical joy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Peace out.